Hello everyone, I am Tacet and welcome to the Gems of War stream. Of course, today we are going to be continuing with our delving endeavors in trying to get as far as we can into the Wild Court. We are going to start doing the skipping method, which is basically just go straight to the boss room. This does make it so we get less Val Ravens and less loot overall. However, we're skipping 5 rooms, so it'll be saving a lot of time in that regard. Since it will essentially cut the delve time in half, actually a little bit less than half. So we'll actually be able to progress forward a little bit quicker. This is pretty much the game plan. It might end up costing us slightly more gems, probably a few hundred. But overall, we'll probably still make leaderboard, and we'll be able to get it done just a little bit quicker. And actually, wow, never mind. Maybe we won't make leaderboard that way. Gosh, the leaderboard is so concentrated right now. Because, of course, this is a new faction. So, like, the entire leaderboard is just people going for 500 in order to do pure faction. Like, so common now, because it's probably one of the... It's the biggest gem sink that is actually viable. Like, classes are a big gem sink, but they're not really that good to waste your gems for those. But wasting your gems on factions actually is decently beneficial, which is why I guess the entire leaderboard is people doing it. It's kind of funny. But anyways, sorry for the slight delay. Still trying to get a bunch of stuff done before next week. As I mentioned, this will actually be our last Saturday stream for a couple weeks. I'm going to be out for about 2 weeks starting next week, basically a week from today. So next Friday is our last stream in 6 days from now, at least for a little while. We'll be back again right at the end of October. We'll be back for Halloween, right before Halloween. But probably won't be starting streams again back after that point until about the 28th. But yeah, we have the stream today and then all the way until Friday. But next Saturday we will not have streams, and for 2 weeks after that we won't have streams for the most part. But we'll still have videos going out and everything. I just had a lot of last minute stuff I've been needing to get done before that occurs. So between the channel as well as just in general. But yeah, sorry about that. But anyways, we actually got epic gems today, which is not too bad. I believe that's 50 gems if I'm not mistaken. Yes, exactly 15. No, never mind. Yeah, exactly 15. So that's not too bad. Of course, the legendary one gives 100, which is a little bit more beneficial, but we've been getting some really bad tasks lately. So great to actually see one that isn't horrifically bad. Are we in the leaderboard? No, I'm not currently in leaderboard right now. We're not even close because we're still towards the beginning area. A lot of people already went all the way through because they end up using the rush method or just because they were playing more yesterday. But we're going to be using the rush method now, so we'll get pretty much all the way there this stream. Maybe not all the way there, but a pretty good chunk. Anyways, let's get into it already. Invasions! Or not invasions, my bad. But while we're here, did we already claim the reward? This is not the game mode I want. Yeah, we already claimed the reward. We're already done with everything here. But what I meant to click is games into the Wild Court. So let's go continue. And we're going to start using rush method, so we're just going to go straight to the end. Still using Oracle. Probably need to change that soon, but for now, Oracle's fine. How many times did I buy the last tier? 2. Currently this time. We're probably going to be buying it more than that. Last time we ended up buying it 7 when we did it for the Tuesday event. I feel like we're going to need to buy it about 5 if we start skipping right here. So we'll see how that goes, which means another 3 times from what we currently bought. I might consider doing that soon if we realize that we're getting pretty close to it. We definitely won't be finishing factions today, though, because we get another free 3 battles tomorrow, which I don't want to have to buy a whole extra pack of 200 gems just to finish it today rather than tomorrow, because it ends up saving it. I know we're not really trying for leaderboard. Leaderboard doesn't really matter if we make. Like, it would be nice if we get 75 gems back in an orb. It's not really that needed, though, if we go for it or not. Using Core 0 to +3 is pretty useful, yeah. What we're currently using right now is not a proper hero class. Oracle is extremely bad with this team. The only reason we're using it is because of EXP. That is literally the only reason I'm using it. Just to get it leveled. No other reason other than that. Ideally, you'd be using Titan or Warden or something there. And Core 0 would also work. Unfortunately, we can't use the Forest Troll method of this team. But this team still functions. Not too big a deal. And we reach max gold almost every single time anyways. Hello, Elite Gaming. Hello, Zeddicus. Actually, I didn't even say hello to everyone. Hello, Leomar. Hello, Itty Bitty Unicorn. Hello, Steven. Hello, Cynical. Hello, Eslin. Hello, GJ Ram. Hello, Corn. Hello, James. Hello, Starlight. Hello, Elite Gaming. Hello, Analyst. Hello, Zeddicus. And hello, Stardium's Cat. Welcome, everyone. And hello, everyone else. Hello, Play Game TV. Okay, what do we need here? Let's grab our greens, start getting that up, get the little bit of enchant, hopefully go all the way to full. Double cast this, good to go. We'll poke some, not that big a deal. Actually, did he just hit 0? I think he just hit on barrier. Probably. Now let's go explode it all. Should be good to go from there and just get it rolling. Fortunately, the other one doesn't have mana. Let's go explode it again. Getting our free turns. There's so few green on this board. Really enough to get the full mana right there, and he's dead. Yeah, truffles are a lot of fun to use. They're also the most consistent infinite loop in the game. This isn't an infinite loop version of it, unfortunately, because the option isn't usable for the stealth. But it's still pretty decent at keeping it on your turn, since the auto extra turns plus gets gem spawn. How much is he doing? He's currently doing 57. And that's without Titan giving it extra bonus, and that's without a little bit more potions, which we're probably going to be doing soon. Which I might even do them now. Because we already know we're going to get a really small amount of our Ravens. For every 8 that we have, we'll assume 2. Which means I'm only assuming like 4 to 6 sigils. And the rest we probably need to buy up. -3 from tomorrow, because we'll have 3 tomorrow for free. I'm gonna go double check where that comes out to. I believe last I recall we need to buy 2 packs, based on my math earlier. So we're at 16, which means approximately 2 Val Ravens, so it could be 3. I'll calculate it out as 3, I guess. So 3, that's 22 sigils. What's 22 plus 19? That's 41. Another 3 tomorrow. That's 44. So yeah, exactly 2 would pretty much get us there. 2 or 3. So I'll buy 2 for now, and we'll see if we need to buy a third one later. So this brings us to tier 4, which I believe is 1,910 gems. I think. How much we spent? Let's go buy 2 more packs. And we might need to buy another pack to be our 5th pack. Right now we're up to 4. Okay, so we'll do it like that. Claim these. 4 gem stack. 2,000 gems down for this event. But we have the gems to spare. So we're under 25,000 now, so we gotta be a bit careful. Anyways, let's go claim rewards and keep moving forward. Be good from there. You normally wouldn't need as many packs, but the reason we bought so many is because we're starting to skip. When you skip, you actually need more because you miss a lot of Val Ravens compared to doing every room. However, for time's sake, it saves a lot of time. Otherwise, it would take like 5 hours more if we were to do every single room. We were doing all of them initially, but you reach a certain point in Delve level where it's just not viable due to the amount of time relative to how little loot you get in return. You wasted your gems trying to get the new Mythic. Yeah, new Mythic, it's a nice troop to have for utility purposes. You don't really need to have it, though. I wouldn't go too far your way for this current Mythic. It's nice to attempt for and nice to have as an option, but it's not like a required troop compared to some troops like, let's say, Iron Gut or something. Like Iron Gut, you definitely 100% want to have and own. Also, anyone on Switch version, Iron Gut is in the event key, or in the, sorry, not the event key, the Glory Gem Guild and VIP chest drop table. Any of you on Switch, I didn't mention that this week, but it is pretty noteworthy. I normally don't mention much with the Switch version, but that is an extremely noteworthy Mythic, among arguably the best in the entire game. So anyone on Switch version, you definitely want to go and go get yourself a Iron Gut. Insanely good option. I'd be using it right now in this delve. Unfortunately, this delve coloration cannot use Iron Gut. So we're just using truffles. which is something that doesn't exist on Switch version yet. Nor does this delve. Nor does a lot of things. I can't believe how far behind Switch version still is. It's about 10 months behind. Iron Gut was added last year, December. Means 10 months ago. A Fizzbang team? Fizzbang is not really too viable, though if you're going to bother using it to a team. It's normally used in the context of Nobbin Brothers, Fizzbang, Grapple Pot, and one other option like a Siren. You can also end up replacing out Grapple Pot for Truffle if you wanted to. Not actually sure which one works better these days. But the main premise is Nobbin Brothers and the Fizzbang into two other options. Possess King? Seems decent. Up to the stream just die. But yeah, that team seems decent, GJ Ram. A little bit off seeing Divinia, though. I don't think you would need Divinia in a Rowan team. I guess for the extra HP for your hero to make sure it doesn't die. And for Cleanse. Just you're not really gaining any benefit other than not dying from the HP. Like you're not gaining any offensive benefit. That's still good in the mana generator nonetheless. Would you consider Ketris to be a better craft over Aquaticus? It depends on the situation. They're both used for completely different things. I'd personally say Ketris is still a better option. Aquaticus is nice, but Ketris is still better for concentrating damage, particularly with upscaling. Aquaticus cannot upscale. Ketris can with weapons that boost ratio based on their stats, like anything that gives you a bunch of attack based on the enemy stats, or armor or HP, like Yasmin's Pride, or Mang. I mean, not Mang, Earth's Fury, I mean, and stuff like that. Those kind of weapons will give you a benefit based on the opponent's stats, and will upscale through higher level content. Whereas the problem with Aquaticus is it's really good against same level content, like things that have similar stats to you. But once you start getting to really high stats, like let's say these kind of stats, Aquaticus is going to be near useless compared to Ketris, which would still be usable at this point. But yeah, Ketris is still one of the better crafts in the game. Not the absolute best. I'm not even sure where I'd place him specifically numerically these days. I'd probably say around 6 or so. Seems around where he is. One nice thing about Ketris too is he is one of the few mythics where if you get a second copy of him, it's not a bad thing. Like if you accidentally get a second copy. And generally, mythics like that are good to consider. While you don't always have to consider them, like for example, Iron Gut obviously is one that you wouldn't want to have multiple copies of, but having one copy is insanely good. It is one of those kind of copies where it's both good to have a copy of it, but it's also not horrible if you accidentally get a second copy off of random drops, because 2 Ketrises you can actually use for some teams, whereas some other 2s like Iron Gut you can't actually use. It'd be pointless to have 2. You don't go out of your way to get the second one, but you, if you happen to get the second one, it's not a big deal. Whereas it'd be really disappointing if you get a second one of something that doesn't really need more copies, more than one. If you have a Skady team, Skady's useless. There's just so many better ways to do Blue Storm. Generally, if you want to build a Skady team, the best thing to do is just do Jar of Eyes instead. Skady is really underwhelming. Mainly because Impervious hard counters both its freeze and its mana burn. What's the best Skull Spam team with Wrath? Well, best is situational depending on what you want to use it for. But normally it's Wrath, Doom Weapon, Skyla, and Possess King. You just run that. What you use for your second option can vary a lot depending on what you want to do for the team. But normally it's one of the Doom Weapons. Which one specifically depends really on the battle that you're doing. So generally you'd want to have one that isn't really mana blocking that much anywhere else on the team. You have 5 World Breakers? Ouch. I have 8 Plagues. I have no clue how I have that many Plagues. I have that many Plagues. Actually, I do know how. I ended up getting like 3 or 4 of the or I ended up getting 3 when it initially came out. Then I randomly got a 4th on accident. And then after the fact, I somehow got another 4. Yeah, I have more copies of Plague. Actually, I believe I have double the copies of Plague than my second highest Mythic. I don't believe I have any other Mythic above 4 other than Plague at 8. I have an absurd number of Plagues. plagues are multiplying. One of the other reasons I have so many copies of him too is he's one of the first few mythics added to the game. I believe Plague was the 4th mythic added to the game? Either 3rd or 4th. Trying to remember the order. I know War was 1st. Famine was 2nd. But then I forget if Death came in or Plague. Yeah, it was either 3rd or 4th. A couple years ago. Yeah, it feels weird. Mythics still almost seem like a new feature. Well, maybe not anymore, but, you know, they still seem semi-newish. Yet, Mythics were added like 3 years ago, or 2.5, whatever it was, or 3.5. Either 2.5 or 3.5 years ago. We ended up getting the introduction of Mythics. It's actually been a while now. How long we've had Mythics in the game. 7 guard avatars, ouch. I don't even think I have 2 guard avatars, oddly enough. Death is generally one of those troops used as a utility troop. There really isn't a best team for it because you only really use it for utilities. But if you're going to bother using it with something, it's normally pretty good with Crimson Bat combo because it allows Crimson Bat to constantly do 2 times damage to the opposing team, or possibly 4 times if they're both divine and damaged. But Death doesn't really have a proper team. You just kind of put him onto a team and then just use him for his death mark. It's not really a mechanic I would ever really advise using. So if you need a cheaper early game option for it, just using it with Mountain Crusher and Divinia is pretty good. Divinia ends up feeding it HP, which it uses for its boost ratio in order to do more damage with a split damage, in case it doesn't get death mark kills. And then just go Mountain Crusher, Divinia, one other option, and death, with that one other option being a damage source of some kind. But Death's one of those kind of troops where you just plop onto a team when you specifically want to use Death Mark for whatever reason. Similar to how you kind of plop Possessed King on a team whenever you want a bunch more mana accumulation or board clear. What's the best team for Gob Truffle? Forest Troll, Gob Truffle, Hero with Doom Weapon, either brown or green, with Warden Hero class or Titan Hero class. But it's the Forest Troll double Gob Truffle combo that is the main premise of this team. We can't use that here though because the restriction makes it so we can't use Forest Troll. But Forest Troll double Gob Truffle with Hero with a Doom Weapon of green or brown is the best with it. That is Titan or Warden. And right now we're not even using the correct hero class either, mainly because I'm trying to level a different hero class. Eventually we'll be done leveling. I did the math earlier, last stream. We're approximately 78 hours away from having every single hero class maxed. Though every time a new hero class comes out, another 28 hours is added to that. So we're getting there. It's going down, if nothing else. It's not like the number's going up, which it can actually go up if you don't farm more than 28 hours a month of hero classes. That's only like 1 hour a day, so generally you would be farming more than that. Why do I refer to death as an it? I am not sure. Kind of just referring to it as an object. That's probably why. We'll go for that. Is doing delves good? It's not really something you have to worry about too much as a newer player. As a newer player, you can pretty much just sit as City Thieves level 20 and just stay there pretty much forever until you reach like level 1,200 or so. Delves aren't really something you worry about until way later in the game, just because they give you very, very minuscule rewards, and most of the rewards that they do give are things that are only really beneficial once you get later in the game anyways. The only 2 things that it really gives earlier on that's beneficial are the Legendary and Mythic Ingots at the highest rate in the entire game, as well as Chaos Shards. And while there are a few other ways to get Chaos Shards, the main way to accumulate them, of course, is from Underworld. What about the spoiler for 4.6? I mentioned this before the stream. However, unless they posted it during the stream, they have not posted it yet. I'll go double check right now. But last I recall, they have not posted the spoiler for the next version, which is really disappointing. They didn't post anything about it. Let me see. Did they post again? Nope. No post. Still no post. I don't see any. But, yeah, I see no spoiler for next patch. I guess we just have to wait till Monday. That's not too far away. It's only 2 days from now. Yeah, I'm not sure why they didn't post anything. Unless I'm looking at the wrong place. I checked both their socials and neither of them had it. Unless there's a third social I'm not aware of. Actually, they probably do have a few other ones that they kind of use, like Reddit and stuff. But, no, they haven't posted anywhere, from what I could tell. Oh yeah, she's probably getting ready for Melbourne's game week, so she forgot to post it or something. Unfortunate. How could she do such a thing? I'll go for that. It's not that big a deal. It'll be completely previewed on Monday anyway, so. Who knows, maybe they'll still post it but do it tomorrow. That'd be kind of redundant since it's 1 day away from them showing literally everything. Will the maker of Gems of War cancel the spoiler website? I don't believe they were planning on doing that. I hope they don't. I use that website for quite a few resources. They've never really been against spoilers. They just want spoilers to be separated from other stuff. That people that don't want spoilers don't find spoilers. But in the past, they've never really been against spoilers being around for the game. What's the best team for King Salinas? Why do I completely forget what King Salinas is off the top of my head? Isn't he useless? Why do I completely forget what he is? King Salinas. Oh, I know what King Salinas is. Wait, isn't King Salinas that one Wild Folk? You just use him with pure Kingdom. There isn't much you could do with him. He's a relatively weak legend. But, yeah, he's the red-yellow wild folk, right? Right? Yeah, he's useless. King Salinas. Yeah, that's why I forgot who he is, because he's useless. Oh, he's not completely useless. It's just there's not as... wild folk don't have particularly good synergy. But, yeah, he's mostly just used with a pure kingdom of everything just from the kingdom, with Wild Queen and everything else from Pansvale. You use it with Bard. Use it with Wild Queen, use it with one other one, and you just build a pure Wild Folk team out of him. It's like the only thing that really works out well. Yes, he does burn all enemies. Or no, he only burns triple. He doesn't burn all, if I'm not mistaken. But you don't really ever need that mechanic because you can just use Infernus for it. You do one extra turn off Infernus and you already do that. Plus Infernus has more damage. Plus Infernus has extra turn potential. Plus Infernus has Storm attached to it. The only real thing that has that Infernus doesn't is... Impervious, but given its lack of capability of constantly doing turns, it doesn't really matter that it has Impervious. Helps a little bit, but Infernus in almost every situation is stronger than King Salinas. And there's not a good enough Wild Folk synergy yet. There might be into the future, but as it currently stands, there isn't. There's a possibility that without him even getting changed, he's going to go from being average like he is now to insanely good into the future. However, as it currently stands, that is not the case. But there's going to be some kind of potential with Bard plus him. Bard is a pretty decent hero class that if we get a few more good, decent Wild Folks, is actually going to be really, really strong. Hopefully next event for Pansvale will end up bringing that in. As it stands right now, it's relatively average with other Wild Folk. And not really something I would say to go out of your way for. It's not the worst half-mana start troop in the game, but definitely nowhere near the best. Not like a Divine Ishbala, that's for sure. Or a Mirage Queen. Or Titan hero class. Almost keep forgetting Titan even has like the half mana start. Because it's already so good with everything else. But he does half mana start Giants. Now, what is currently the worst half mana start in the game? It's not the Wild Folk one. It's not the Urskea one either, just because even though the troop is horrifically bad, you can still use it for Sentinel hero class. Basically, it makes it like a strong version of Titan. Or a defensive version of Titan, I should say. What is the absolute worst? I guess Mech is pretty low down there, but there's still some decent things to use for Mech. Actually, you know what? It might be the Urskea one, now that I think about it. I'm trying to think. The Elf one kind of is. However, it's used with that really annoying Orb Weaver team, so most people probably don't consider it the worst, just because of how annoying it is, and it's one specific really hard counter defend team. Otherwise, the Elf one's probably the worst. If you ignore Orb Weaver exists, Elf is probably the worst. 50% Elf bonus. Because there's really only two things you could ever use that for, Orb Weaver and Yagwei, for the most part. And I guess technically Weaver, which gets used with the Orb Weaver. King Salinas used to protect against Fireblade. Would it? I guess you could kind of use it for that purpose. The main purpose of King Salinas is more so, I feel like as an anti-silence team. Like if you're up against a silence mechanic, like the most recent Mythic possibly, it'd be a decent option. Because you'd use it with Bard as well. Like any team that ever uses King Salinas is almost 100% using Bard hero class. Just because they have perfect synergy together. And if you were to bother doing that, then they both have immune to silence. That's like one of the only few things you would use it for, is anti-silence, but there's so few anti-silence needs in the game currently. If the makers of Fortnite see people with leaks on YouTube, if the leaks don't take them down, they will get sued. But that's because you're not supposed to disclose info like that normally. Like for a video for profit. But if you're just like sharing the info, it normally doesn't matter. So it depends like what kind of leak it is. And it also depends on how big the game company is as well. Like, obviously, something like Nintendo having something of theirs leaked. That's, like, really big. Like, let's say an entire trailer before they ever released it. That would be, like, a huge lawsuit if that was to get out before they intended it to. But, like, smaller stuff, it wouldn't really matter. And smaller companies in general. And it normally also comes down to the whole profit aspect. Like if someone's directly profiting off of it or not. I really wish we'd get more reflect options. I'm still surprised we haven't gotten a faction yet that uses it. I'm pretty sure we will soonish. But we still have yet to get a faction that has 100% reflect, or any troop that has 100% chance to reflect. It's going to be a mechanic that's obviously going to be added. We still haven't gotten it yet. I always found that weird, because when they added Bleed and Curse, it took a while before we ever really got an option. Now the same thing's going to be happening, it looks like, with Reflect, where we're going, like, it's going on for, like, months without getting a mechanic. Because it's been out for, what, a little over a month now? The most recent patch? And it's still not even close to being released. I still think we have, like, another month before we end up seeing the mechanic at 100%. Kind of weird how they take so long. Like, they'll add it in a version, and then, like, another version or two will go by before they actually add the mechanic in a usable way. It's like, here's this shiny new mechanic. Now, we'll give it to you in about a month or two. Of course, it's still technically semi-usable now, but not consistently. So we finally get an option for it. How do you counter Reflect? Curse is the easiest way to counter Reflect. Assuming they're not blessed, Curse will just remove Reflect, plus it will curse them. Dispel also works. Dispel gets rid of all positive stats effects, which includes Reflect. Yeah, Dispel and Curse are the two biggest mechanics for dealing with Reflect, both of which hard counter it. Also, currently nothing in the entire game has immune to Dispel. Not even Indestructible has immune to Dispel. There's currently no immune to Dispel anywhere in the game. Not a single perk gives immunity to it. Which means Dispel will always counter Reflect. Like, there are things immune to Curse, but there is nothing immune to Dispel. And the only thing immune to Curse is Indestructible. I'll take that one. Not even Impervious has immune to it. Because that's one of the whole purposes of Curse is actually to counter Impervious, oddly enough. It's like one of the main reasons they added it. The Mirrored Hall faction looks pretty decent. I haven't actually looked at it yet. I believe that's 2 factions from now, right? Let me go check. Let me see. Troop spoilers. Wait, is that next faction? Oh, maybe it is next faction. Let's see. What do they do? I'll go read it real quick. Metro might as well bring it up on screen. Next month, faction spoilers. Go. Oh, it's coming out the week of my birthday. Nice. My birthday's on that Monday, and the faction's coming out that Friday. Really cool. Let me go bring it up real quick. 1 second. Might as well go show them. We're gonna read through them anyways. Where's the thingy thing? There we go. Move that over. Also, I need to get a smaller armrest. Keeps falling down because it's so bulky. What am I looking for? I am looking for the interface, so I can go actually show you guys this. Okay, let's go over new faction. This is coming a month from now. I believe it's the first Friday of, or second Friday of next month of, yeah, of November. What am I looking for? Where is window capture? There it is. Is that it? That should be it. Okay, so the troops coming in next faction. Create 10 gems. This is the ultra rare for next faction in a month from now. Create the one after this one that we currently have going on right now. Create 10 gems of a random ally's mana color. Then summon a copy of that ally. Whoa, that's actually really interesting. I wonder what happens if you use that on hero. What on earth would happen if you use that on hero? Could this be the first instance you could have multi-hero? I highly doubt that's going to work on hero. That's the first thing we're going to do is test that on hero. If that actually works on hero, that's going to be probably the most broken troop in the entire game. Could you imagine multiplying some of hero's traits if all 10 of them actually work? Trying to think of which hero class would be the most broken with that. Probably like Bard or something like that. Maybe not Bard. There has to be some kind of hero class that'd be ultra broken for that mechanic. That would also be good for newer players who have, let's say, a really good Mythic, but they don't have too many other options. They just keep multiplying the Mythic and make their entire team like Infernus or something. That's going to be really interesting. Because both newer players and late game players could probably use that for some really broken things. Though it depends if it works on hero. I almost completely doubt that will work on hero. But that'd be the first instance ever you could have more than one of your own hero onto a team. Why do I feel like the game would crash if you tried having a second hero? Hopefully that's not an oversight on their part. How much you want to make a bet there's going to be some kind of glitch with this thing? There's almost 100% chance that thing will have a glitch. But, that seems really interesting, actually. Transform into an enemy, or the next one, the rare. Transform into an enemy, and then curse them. That's an interesting premise, too, because then you get to just become one of the enemies. I assume you get to have their traits and everything, too. That'd be good if you don't have any options. You could literally just copy the entire enemy's team. You wouldn't have their stats. So, for example, if they have like 500 HP and everything, you wouldn't have their stats. This most likely will just come in with its normal base stats. But still, you'd be able to become their troops. If they were still higher rarity stuff, you'd still be able to do that. So again, another pretty good early game option. Since you could just steal people's higher rarity stuff and become those troops. Might not be as strong as theirs, but you'd still have it for their ability and traits and everything, most likely. Next is the Epic. It explodes your gems. There it is. There's the 100% Reflect. Give Reflect to a random ally. So it looks like we're getting it next Delve, which is still a while away. That's like 2 months after the fact of when they added Reflect, because this is still a whole month away, November 8th. Actually, that's even a little bit more than a month away. But Explode Your Gems gives Reflect to a random ally. Unfortunately, it's completely random. Oh, but you get it +1 per thing, right? Boosted by skulls, yes. So as long as you hit 4 skulls, you get Reflect for your entire team. That Golem seems like it's going to be really good then, because it can 4 times Reflect for 12 mana while also doing board control. Though it does require 4 skulls, but Doom Skulls also count. Skulls or Doom Skulls. Yeah, this whole faction actually seems pretty decent. Like, these are, all 4 of them seem like really good utility troops, or at least the first 3. We didn't read the last one yet. But yeah, it even has some armored. Oh, too bad it doesn't have stone skin or something, though. But still not too bad. And lastly, we have the legend, the Mirror Queen. Oh, it has Reflect on 4 times, 5 times matches. It has begun. Oh no. Deal magic +4 damage to an enemy, boosted by reflected allies at a 6 times boost ratio. There's a 50% chance to summon a copy of that enemy. Interesting. So it's a single target ability that could potentially summon the troop that you just hit. That is a really interesting premise. That's going to be a super hard delve, though, to kill. Particularly doing... it's actually going to be almost, not like harder, but this is probably going to be the hardest level 500 Deathless to do. Not because you'd necessarily die, but just because it would be able to become your troops with like absurdly high stats. Assuming it works correctly. But, yeah, this is a really interesting delve concept. Has a lot of Reflect, and has a lot of things that can become other troops. I'm probably most curious to see how on earth the copycat mimic thing works. If that can copy hero, it's going to be the most hilarious thing I have ever seen. I really hope that can copy hero. It's going to be very, very, very broken if it can. I really hope it can. I think you can copy enemy's hero and even copy your own hero using those 2 troops. It hasn't been confirmed yet. But if that works, it is going to be very broken, most likely. Because hero is one of the strongest troops, if not the strongest troop in the game. Just because of how many different things you can use it for. And to build your entire team into just pure hero would be pretty funny. Of course, you'd have to copy it with the same weapon, but still. There's quite a few traits that do stack over top each other that are on various hero classes. Like right now, all centaurs gain 2 magic when an enemy casts a spell. So if we were to have, let's say, 4 of these on our team, or 3 of them, it would become 6 magic every single time an enemy casts a spell, since they count as centaurs. And there's quite a few other hero classes that would gain pretty substantial benefits from being spammed all across your team. Also, it'd be the first instance you could ever have 2 weapons on your team. If you go and, let's say, copy someone's Mountain Crusher while you're using a different weapon, like let's say Essence of Evil, boom, you just got yourself Essence of Evil plus Mountain Crusher. Or like Jar of Eyes plus Mountain Crusher. Or there's like so many weird combos you could get if you could actually have multiple heroes on your team. Haha, it's like going to be playing Gems of War with Uno cards. Yeah, next faction will do a lot. It's probably going to be the most interesting mechanical faction we've ever gotten. Ever. Just because the implications of everything that it's going to be bringing in are pretty large. And all 4 of them actually seem meta to some degree. If not for actual meta purposes, for fun. But all of them seem useful, if nothing else. Because one can copy enemy troops, one can copy your own troops. One is a cheap reflect option, and the other that can instantly 4 times your entire team. And the other one is just a good reflect option that can do it slowly through extra turns without wasting a turn. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of different team buildings you can end up building around. It also will allow low-level players to get troops that they normally wouldn't have. So if you see an enemy troop that you want to use on your team, you could just use that one Mimic troop, set up your team with 3 troops that will work around that troop, rush up the Mimic troop, and then just copy that troop from the opposing team. So you'll be able to use Mythics you don't even have. It'll be really cool for newer players. Because I feel like a lot of newer players don't get to try a lot of the Mythics that are within the game. But there's one troop that's just going to completely fix that. So that's going to really be interesting to see how that pans out. Because it's something I don't normally think about, since obviously I've played every single Mythic in the game, because I'm able to obtain it instantly. But a lot of players probably haven't tried some Mythics yet, like Zugaf or any other number of Mythics, because obviously they just don't own it. But and there's no other way to really do it. But starting next faction, there actually will be. Because if you see a Mythic on the opposing team, you could just use the Mimic troop on it, become that Mythic, and then boom, there you go, you get to try it. Of course, it'd be very temporary, just for the battle, but hey, you'd actually be able to try any Mythic in the entire game, assuming you're up against it. I wonder if that would also work on towers. That'd be pretty funny if you become a tower. There's currently no way to ever have a tower on your team. That'd be kind of funny if you can go into invasions, copy their troop, and then become a tower. Because in the current state of the game, that is actually impossible. Because there are no tower troops. Oh, we'll go for that. Although I wish they would add weaker versions of the towers as actual playable characters. It would actually be pretty fun, especially if they maintained indestructible. Because we have a really low amount of player-owned indestructible troops. The only ones we have are the 6 Doom troops, which are useless. The towers would be a nice addition, since they would actually be useful compared to the Doom troops. How many gems does it take to buy all the tiers? In this game mode, I believe it's 1,110 if I'm not mistaken. To buy every tier once, I believe is 1,110. We're currently at 1,910. Or is how deeply bought into it. But if I'm not mistaken, it's 1,110 to buy each one once. It's either 1,110 or 1,310. I believe it's 1,110. If I'm not mistaken. Which is pretty pricey. And you need to go a bit further than that if you actually want to go do pure faction. Both because you need the higher stats, but also because you need more sigils. Even if you did every single room, I think you have to spend at least 1,510. And if you don't do every single room, then you have to spend even more than that. Right now we're up to 1,910. Because we're skipping a bunch of rooms. But yeah, the average pure faction probably costs around 2,000 gems or so, give or take. But just buying each of one tier is 1,110. But buying one of each doesn't really matter if you're not going for pure faction. The whole point of even doing these events, if you're going to bother buying into them, is to do pure faction. Otherwise, it's not really worth buying that far into them. Okay, I'll grab that. Somehow still not full mana, but that will give us both of them, and then we start looping it. Oops, I did not mean to cast Mountain Crusher again. Just click. Definitely meant to truffle. The truffle shuffle. Feels weird not infinite looping with them, but this team is not able to. If you don't have Forest Troll, you actually can't. Like the main component that ends up making it work. The infinite loop of it. And without it, it still gets some loopage, just not infinite. There we go. On to the next one. They move so much quicker when we only have to do half the delve and we don't need to scout at all. Because before we had to scout 3 rooms. The 2 tier 4s and the tier 5. But now we don't need to scout anything. So we're just running straight path. There we go. And I would start truffling. Probably get a little bit more mana on him first, but well. Hopefully this will do excess mana. Almost. One more turn we'll get him up. Unless we just get excess now. No, unless this extra turn is not going to matter. Yep, we did an extra turn. Oh well. But I got full mana regardless. And I was dead. What colors are used in the new delve? The new one coming up. The new delve next month is using yellow and blue. So you will be able to use Iron Gut Team if you want to. And the Mirage Queen version of it too. You can use Mountain Crusher, Apothecary, Iron Gut, and Mirage Queen or Possessed King. You can also end up using the Zugoff version of Mountain Crusher, Iron Gut, Zugoff, and Mirage Queen. There's definitely plenty of really high tier options. Not sure what you'd use for quick kill though under blue-yellow. Because a lot of the normal options wouldn't be available for blue-yellow. I guess you could use Truffle still. But you wouldn't have... Oh, never mind. Yeah, duh. You could just use Forest Troll Truffle. Never mind. I forgot. Anytime you have blue as access, you can use it. Yeah, blue makes every delve super easy. Because if you have blue in a delve, you can use 2 really absurdly strong teams. You can use Apothecary or Mountain Crusher, Apothecary plus Iron Gut, and with Mirage Queen, or you can end up using Forest Troll, double Gob Truffle with a hero weapon. Both of which are among 2 of the best delve teams in the entire game. And any delve that has blue as an option can use it. Doesn't matter what their other color is. Yeah, next delve should be really interesting. That might be the most interesting delve they've ever added from a troop perspective. Because we're getting a lot of really, really unique mechanics all at once. Like, of course, there's Reflect, but Reflect is almost like the smaller aspect of it compared to those transform options. because those are really huge options. Being able to mimic a opposing troop and being able to copy one of your own. Especially from an early game perspective, early mid game, as well as throughout the entire game. Oh, what's Wild Court's colors? Wild Court is green-red. Beta Stealth is restricted to green-red. You can see it whenever you go into a battle here, and you can also see it based on their banner. Whatever the two primary colors is what the Delve color is, which is green and red. The minus blue, but minus blue has no effect on this. It's just whatever the two core